Hey guys, it's Buns. We are 6 days deep into the expansion. Legion has launched. It is Sunday night. Today I didn't have any stream. I was spending some time out with our family. We were celebrating a bunch of the Buns family's birthdays. So I did not have a stream today, and I felt that I wanted to have something out tonight for you guys on the YouTube page because it's been about a week since I put out a YouTube video. But just like everyone else, I've had a lot going on in WoW. Been leveling up my toon, been starting on the 110 grind, working on my item levels, and I thought that I would just take a short video and give you guys kind of a recap of my experience, what I've liked, what I haven't liked, and what I'm looking forward to going into the future, as long as giving you guys a few tips along the way that might be helpful for you while you're leveling your first toon or grinding out some item levels. So, with that said and done, my leveling experience, I find myself to be one of the players that I enjoy leveling through the new content I do every expansion at least once. Now, past that, depends how fun the expansion was. I would say that after playing this expansion, I had a good time leveling. The second toon, meh, maybe I can do it a second time, but the third time I'll probably boost a toon, you know? But first toon, I'm going to say this. I leveled my rogue, which is what I ended up maining. It took me the last day before I decided if I was going to play Ellie Shaman, which is probably the worst caster right now in PvP, but it's a lot of fun, or rogue, which is arguably the best class in PvP right now, DPS spec. So, I went with a rogue. I went with sub. That was also a last minute call too. It was either sub or outlaw, but honest to God, it really came down to I just thought that sub had so much more control available, and I thought it would be really easy to level to with all the sustain healing. It ended up being a really good choice. I really enjoyed leveling my sub rogue. Now, the first zone I went to, and a lot of you guys may have questions about still that haven't played the expansion yet or didn't know this. What happens is when you go to Dalaran, you get a choice on your class hall board of which zone you can go to. Now, when you're leveling, I forgot until I had actually gone into the leveling experience myself that all of the zones are scaled to your level. So no matter which zone you pick, you're going to be leveling through at whatever level you are based on the content, which I think is really cool. That was a really cool thing that they implemented this expansion. So rather than you have to pick a certain zone based on your level and you're circuited or you're forced to go level through that zone, you could literally pick any zone in the expansion and level, and it's going to meet your standards because everything's going to be scaling with you, which was awesome. So big thumbs up for Blizzard on that. The first zone that I went to was Stormheim. Now, Stormheim was probably the coolest looking zone out of all of the zones, all of the leveling zones. To me, I thought it was the coolest looking zone. It reminded me a lot of a mix between Howling Fjord, which was a Northrend with the Verkels and whatnot, which kind of got a revamp as well too, as you'll see if you level through the zone, as well as a mix of Kunlai's Summit with how edgy the zone was with mountains and flats and high grounds. There's just a lot of elevation all over the zone. Really cool. So if you're just going for a straight up leveling experience, I would highly recommend taking some time in Stormheim to level through because the zone was awesome. I found myself spending a lot of different time going through all of the different sequences that they had and some of the objectives and world quests that they had there, as well as finding treasures as well too. Another thing with that, a side note, there was an add-on that my stream suggested that I get called Handy Notes, which was very handy. I'm one of those people that don't like having a ton of add-ons, but for the sake of leveling, they recommended that I get it for my artifact power and being able to get so much farther ahead of other people that were working on their artifact power, and it shows you how many treasures there are in your area on the zone, and you can go track them, and when you pick them up, it marks it on your map, and you don't have to go back and get them. So it's nice, because while I was leveling through on my mini-map, I'd see that there was a treasure on the map, and it ended up being some cave that was like underground. I'd go find it, 30-second little inversion, and I'd have all this extra treasure building up that, honest to God, like more than half of it, I would not have found myself if I just had no idea that was there. So a lot of them's really hard to find, so I enjoyed that. Leveling experience, I think Stormheim was an awesome zone. It just graphically looked awesome, and when you actually get to go and fly through it, it's just crazy. So highly recommend Stormheim. Now the catch is, for me, my favorite zone was probably High Mountain. High Mountain is the zone with the Taurens with the antlers coming out, and there was two reasons why I liked High Mountain. One, I thought the quest line was really fun. First off, it was probably my second, Actually, it was probably my favorite zone questline-wise. I just think that Stormheim looked really cool. I thought the High Mountain questline was awesome. And the second thing to go with that as well, too, is it felt very efficient. I felt that High Mountain as itself as a zone, all the quests were really grouped up very nicely, and I could just go through it very efficiently, keep working my way through, leveling and doing all the quests in a quick fashion. Whereas a zone like Stormheim, for example, if you're not someone that's trying to level for the leveling experience, quote unquote, Stormheim, you had to run all over the place to turn in your quests, and it just took a longer time than High Mountain did. High Mountain was a lot more condensed, and you did your quests in little bunches, where Stormheim, I'm like flying around, running all over the map. So Stormheim, graphically the most appealing zone. High Mountain was all around my favorite zone. I thought it was a very efficient zone to level through. I also very much enjoyed the Azuna questline with the blue dragons. I don't remember the name of them off the top of my head, but there's a very cool questline in the northern area of Azuna where you go through this whole dragon questline and you end up meeting this dude that's Smeagol, and he's like obsessed with eating mana crystals. It was funny, okay? I had a good time with it. I'm not going to be as excited leveling through it a second time, I'll be honest with you, but the first time through I had a good time with it. So I leveled through just like everyone else through questing. Then after that I got to 110, went to Suramar, and I just wanted to start working on my world quest as soon as possible. Now, for those of you guys that are 110 right now, I'm going to give you guys a few heads up. The best way that you can spend your time getting your item levels up before you can get to your heroic and mythic stage is just do the world quests. So how the world quests work is that on your map, they're going to show little exclamation points, different quest objectives. Here, I'll show you guys really quick, based on what zone you're in. So let's say we're going to go to, let's go to Stormheim today because I got my emissary quest there today. It would be a perfect example. So you can see this is a world quest right here. You go complete that. It gives you reputation for whatever zone that is in the faction. For this example, it's Valajar, and that happens to be where my world quest objective is today, my emissary turn-in. So if you do 4 quests in that zone with the same reputation, you're going to get a huge box at the end that can give you resources, gear, gold, a combination of different things, and even a chance at getting your legendary, which I haven't gotten one yet. Fingers crossed, we'll see where we get there. So working on your world quest is the most efficient way to start working on your item level once you get to 110. So if you're someone that's just trying to go through the motion really quickly, you want to level up, High Mountain's a great zone to get through it very quickly. You'll get, 3 levels, 2.5 levels. Keep working on that, get to 110, go through some of the other zones. And if you want to just start gearing up quickly, do your world quests. Look for quests on the map that are giving you gear. They have a chance to upgrade on top of that as well too. So right off the bat, I think that the world quests are giving you 800 or 805 plus, and then based on your character's overall item level, it's going to increase with you. So for myself right now, a lot of gear is giving me 830 plus when I find it on the map. And the plus can be Warforged or Titanforge procs, so you can get also upgrades on top of that. That's the most efficient way to get gear. You really don't want to be doing normal dungeons for getting gear. It's just not worth it. It's too RNG and you're not getting guaranteed drops. World quests are a great way to go. I would really recommend that until you get to a heroic level. And at that point, you can do your world quests, prioritize, but then also have your heroic quests as well too. Then I got to the point where I started doing heroics with a few buddies. I've done a few instances now, my mythic dungeons. And for mythics, you have to actually have 5 people in a group. You have to actually go to the instance and then run through it. And for someone that doesn't like PvE, I actually enjoyed the mythic dungeons. I thought that they were challenging enough where I felt invested and stimulated into actually completing them. And I want to say this. Once you get to the point where you're doing mythics, you're getting good gear from that, and until the 20th, you won't be able to do raids, so everyone's just trying to get the best possible item level they can before raids comes out. And on the same day that raid comes out, which I think is September 20th, that sounds right off the top of my head, is also the same day the arena season starts. Now, put that on hold for a second, but we're going to come back to that. Now, I have to say that one of the negative feelings for me going into the expansion is this feeling that you're on a gear grind just to keep up with people. Now, for myself, that would be PvP. I want to go into PvP. And how it works this expansion is that when you go into a PvP instance group, such as a battleground or arena, your item level is baseline 800. Now, It's baseline 800, and for how much, let's say that you start at 800 and you have your character's item level is 810. You are going to have a 1% increase of damage for having 810 item level. Each item level, character item level over 800 you're getting 0.1% damage. So someone that's at 850 item level, which is pretty much max item level right now before the raids come out, going into PvP when it comes out, or going into arenas when it comes out on Tuesday, is going to have a 5% advantage over people that do not have 850 item level gear. So I have to say that I like the idea that it's committing people to want to be able to gear up their tunes, but it's in such a random fashion as well at the same time too, that I feel like, as someone that wants to be PvPing, I feel like right now I'm spending so much time having to PvE grind just to be able to keep up with everyone for PvP, and that's kind of a bad feeling. And I understand that the margin has gone significantly down in how much the item level bonus helps you. Like, obviously 5% isn't that much, but for people that want to be playing competitively, it's a bad feeling to feel like you're going to be 5% off in gear if you don't do anything about it. And then it's really grindy to even get to the point where you're like 850. You know, it's not the best feeling in the world. I feel like that they probably could have done it in a different way where everyone starts off at the same item level, and then maybe everyone starts at 800 going into PvP, or better yet, maybe everyone starts at 850 going into PvP, and then after the season comes out, as you get rewarded with gear, then you increase on that. Like, for myself as someone in PvP right now, like, I want to be focusing on actually playing Battlegrounds and arenas and getting better at my classes and getting familiar with what everyone else has going on right now with their abilities. But I feel like I'm getting forced in this direction of grinding world quests, grinding mythic dungeons, grinding professions, so I can get my gear up to a point where I feel like I'm keeping up with everyone else before arenas come out on the 20th. To me, that's not a good feeling. I understand that people are excited about having new content, that people are motivated to be able to be like, oh, hey, I went out and I grinded and I worked for all this gear. It's really, really, for someone that wants to be doing PvP, you're going in a completely opposite direction, right? If I want to play PvP, the best possible gear that I can get is doing mythic dungeons beforehand, which is, I mean, that's like left field, right field. You know what I mean? Like two opposite things. Like for myself, I ideally would like to be spending time doing PvP and getting better at my class, not doing PvE, even though not necessarily that haven't been fun. It's just it's leaving a sour taste in my mouth, and that's just my first opinion. That's just what I think right now. Maybe for people that are doing PvE, they're enjoying it more, but for someone that wants to commit to PvP, it's not the best feeling, you know? I'll just leave it at that. But let me answer some questions here. So I said I was going to say arenas are coming out on the 20th. Now, how gearing works going into arenas, because I had a lot of questions on this. I did a little bit of research, and going back into it, basically what's going to happen is when you do battlegrounds in arenas, all of your gear now is awarded through loot boxes, your strong box system. There's no more currency. Honor is back in the game, but honor is basically how you level through your honor talents. So if you can see my honor bar down here, I'm tracking it, and I think I'm honor level 4 or 5 right now. Let me check. Yeah, I got to honor level 5, and that's kind of how you work through your talent tree system and unlock your abilities. And then once you hit level 50, you have the option to prestige or not, which is going to give you rewards based on what prestige ranking you're at. And for the first season, I think you can prestige 4 times, and you'll get, a different reward every time you prestige. I'm not quite as interested in that. Maybe I'll end up doing it, but I would rather just have all of my abilities available when PvP comes out and then not have to reset them, because I want to play arenas. So it's there for people that want to play more casually, and then for people that don't, you can work through that progression system as well to get your honor. And maybe that's something that I could even work on, that I've been considering before arenas come out, is to maybe start working on prestiging before the actual arenas come out on the 20th. But with that in mind, I just feel that, no. Pause that thought for a second. So with honor back in the game, it's not a currency. It's just progression for yourself on how far you can advance in your honor talents. Valor, conquest points. The old school honor system where you buy your gear, it's gone. It's loot boxes. Now, a few things on how it's going to work. Right now, in your battlegrounds and your arenas, you're getting gear that can be equivalent to what you would get in normal dungeons if you're running through it and it has a chance to drop. Now, I did quite a few skirmishes the other day, and all I was getting was like 5 artifact power. I think that when you do battlegrounds, you have a higher chance of them dropping. The boxes you get are more significant than you get from battlegrounds from skirmishes. But going into the 20th, what's going to happen is you are going to get gear based on what your rating is, which sounds a little bit weird. That is what it is. That wasn't a misspeak. Or a misspeak. Holy moly. Misspeak. But you get the idea. So, come the 20th, when arenas come out, based on your rating, you will get better item level gear based on how high you are. So, let's say that someone that's around the 1700 marker, I think is the example that they used in the text. If you're at the 1700 marker and you get an item from your gear, it'll probably be around where raid difficulty gear is, somewhere around 830, 840 item level. Whereas opposed to someone that's pushing for gladiator, they're going to be pushing up there 865, 870 item level gear. And it will get better as you go up. Now, I have 2 thoughts on this right off of the bat. Now, to some degree, I like that you get gear from the boxes because I think that it creates more opportunities for players to get geared faster, in the sense that, you know, if you're doing a lot of arenas or you're doing a lot of battlegrounds, you're going to be gearing up and getting a lot of boxes, so the frequency is going to increase and you'll get more gear just because of the boxes you're getting. But the thing that I don't like about it is once you start getting closer to having full set gear and progressing towards that, eventually it's going to be really hard to kind of focus in on the last few pieces you need and also getting the right upgrades. I think it's going to be quite a mess the further you get into it, but right off of the bat, I think it'll help people gear up quickly. Just as you reach, maybe you have like 4 or 3 pieces left, it's going to be hard to get that random drop in your box that's going to fit into that slot and give you the piece that you are looking for. So the frequency of drops is going to happen more often. You'll probably get more gear than you would, let's say, in a conquest week, where maybe you're getting 2 pieces in a conquest week, depending on what your cap is. Like, you'll probably be getting way more gear. It's just, is it the right gear and is it for the right slot that you need? So we'll have to see how that goes when PvP actually comes out. That's kind of my general take as of now. I enjoyed questing. Stormheim was also visually. High Mountain was my favorite zone all around. I spent most of my time once I hit 110 working on World Quest, getting my gear up to 810, and then I was doing World Quest and Heroics after that. And then I did, I think, like 1 or 2 Mythics at this point. They were really hard, by the way, too. I'm not doing the PvEs at all, and I was like, I couldn't imagine doing PvE without this book right here. I'll just tell you what, all you vanilla raiders, goddamn, man, I fucking read the book, dude. Like, holy cow, like, I'm Dora the Explorer. I'm just reaching into the backpack. What? We need help. Like, that was rough, dude. Violet Hold was rough. I died like 5 times, but I had a good time doing it. I'm just curious to see where I'm at next week. Like, is the item progression still going to be fun? Because for myself right now, I'm already getting irritated with the fact that I feel like I'm having to get my gear just to keep up with people, and that I would rather be spending my time getting better at my class and more comfortable with what's going on in PvP rather than doing this whole like PvE arms race grind. So those are my general first take thoughts on the table. Just want to do a video for you guys to get it out there. Curious to what you guys think, curious on how your experience is with the expansion. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll be streaming most of the week, and I'll get you guys with another video later on. Soon in the future, we're going to be doing a lot of PvP content once we get closer to the arena season opening up. So So that will be coming out as well too. Thanks guys, appreciate the support. Hope you guys enjoy the video. I will catch you on the live stream or next time on the YouTube video. Keep it easy everyone. Peace.